Good morning. Thank you for joining us on this beautiful Sunday. We're going to dive into the Word of the Lord, and we're going to be going into the book of James, chapter 3, starting with the 13th verse. And it reads, "Who is a wise man and endued with knowledge among you?" In other words, who is somebody that is a leader, somebody that is taking charge as a servant of the Lord. Then it begins to explain what this man should be. It says, "Let him show out of a good conversation his works with meekness of wisdom." Let him show with meekness of wisdom. Then it says, "But if ye have bitter envying and strife in your hearts, glory not and lie not against the truth. This wisdom descended not from above, but is earthly, sensual, devilish." One version says that it's demonic. That if there's bitter envying and strife, that is not from the Lord. That it's earthly, it's sensual, it's devilish or demonic. Then it says, "For where envying and strife is, there is confusion and every evil work." I'm going to stop there for a moment and we'll continue to read after what the opposite of that is. But it's telling us one side, then it tells us the other. And we'll go into the other shortly. But the one side, it's talking about bitterness, envying, strife. What that does is brings confusion and every evil work. So that environment invites the wrong spirit. It invites the wrong atmosphere. It invites the wrong environment. Sometimes I know this word is not always accepted, but it works. It's just that it's not a church word, but it still applies because it comes from creation, and that word is energy. It's an energy. Everything's an energy. Sound is an energy. Light is an energy. Movement is an energy. We all have an energy in us. Our heartbeat is an energy. When God spoke the heavens and the earth into existence, it was an energy that came out of him. So there's a good energy, and then there's an evil energy. And who is endued with knowledge, who is a wise man among you, that he should be meek person. And that's what his character should be. And the opposite brings every evil work, strife, bitterness, and confusion. The other word I like to use for that part of confusion is chaos. It brings chaos. So that's the side we don't want. It's not what it should look like, if I could say it that way. It shouldn't look like that. But let's look and read in the Word what it should look like. And I think it's beautiful, the way it explains what it should look like. This is what it says it should look like. For where envy and strife is, there is confusion in every evil work. That's not what we want it to look like. But the wisdom that is from above is first pure, then peaceable, gentle, and easy to be entreated, full of mercy. I'm going to pause on that one. It should be full of mercy and good fruits. This other one is I love this one too. It says, without partiality. There's no favoritism. And without hypocrisy. It's not do as I say, not as I do. It's do as I do. It's not hypocrisy. The yeas are yeas, the nays are nays. That we don't set a bar higher for people than the leader's willing to live up to or to be. I expect you to do more than I do. I expect you to go further, to put more effort than I do. No, somebody that's leading should be leading by example and be willing to roll up their sleeves and do the things without hypocrisy. And the fruit of righteousness is sown in peace of them that make peace. Peaceable, gentle, easy to be entreated, full of mercy, good fruits, without partiality, without hypocrisy. It tells us exactly what it should look like. That's what it should look like. The environment around the people of God, the environment around the men and women of God, that's what it should be like. Easy to be entreated, full of mercy. I think a lot of people misunderstand the full of mercy part. They look at being full of mercy is condoning sin, condoning actions, approving of somebody's actions. That's not what mercy is. Mercy is not approving of anybody's actions that may be incorrect. It's having mercy. Why? Because God's had mercy on us. And who are we to pronounce judgment on people in the sense of not having mercy and grace in other people's lives? See, a lot of people will say that many people cannot be forgiven. That God can't forgive them because their acts are unforgivable. And where does that come from? It comes from man. And I think all of you don't need to be a theologian to know this. What is unforgivable? What is unforgivable? Question. All of us know the answer, even if we're not theologians. What is unforgivable is to mock his spirit. The unforgivable sin. How is that? Well, we say those acts are done. To mock his spirit is to reject him. To reject him is the unforgivable sin. To reject him. And anybody that rejects that opportunity of grace and mercy, that's what's unforgivable. But whatever we pick out of the air, lying, cheating, stealing, whatever you want to pull out, murder, they can be forgiven under the blood. And we should thank God that it's forgivable, because that means we're forgivable also. I've said this about people that live a certain lifestyle and people have condemned them. And I look at this and I say, if the blood is not powerful enough to forgive them, how is it powerful enough to forgive me or to forgive you? Again, am I saying to condone actions on somebody's missteps or missing the mark or whatever it might be? No, I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is we should lead as people full of mercy. Full of mercy, without partiality and without hypocrisy. That's the way we should lead. We should be that person. I'm going to say it this way. The person that somebody should be the most transparent in front of. The person, of course, in front of God, I get that. But the person here on earth that we should be able to be the most transparent in front of is the man of God. That's the person we should be able to be the most transparent in front of. And in so many cases, it's the opposite. It's the person people are least transparent in front of. It's the person that somebody will put up a different view of themselves instead of being themselves. And I'm not saying to, oh, I have to speak my mind and I'm rude and mistreat people because I'm just being transparent. That's not what I mean. That we are able to share whatever struggles we may have with the man of God. But again, so many times it's not the one that people can go to or will go to. They're going to go to somebody else. And a lot of times they're going to go to someone else that doesn't know the Lord. And that person they go to is because the person has mercy. Where mercy gets left off the table with many people that are leading as men and women of God. And it's misunderstood. So many times somebody will have an area in their life that people will see they're doing things that they shouldn't do. And people will be aware of it. And they'll pronounce judgment on it. And they'll call it out. And I'll say to myself, do you know the history? I'll say to myself, do you know the story? And so many times I know the people don't know the story. They don't know the history. There's damaged, wounded people that walk through the doors of the church and they get misread, they get misjudged, and people won't know what they've been through. They won't know what damage got done to them in their childhood or what somebody may have done to them when they were 8, 9, 10, 11 years old. And so now they have a guard up, they have a defense mechanism. They're trying to find their identity. They're trying to get their wounds healed. And meanwhile they're slipping and they're sliding and they can't find their footing, and people are judging them. People are misreading them. And I hear it all the time with people. They'll say, oh, this person's like that. I don't like them. I don't like this person. And I'll know that they don't know the person. They're just misreading I'll say it this way, their body language, the way they carry themselves. They won't be able to interpret a wound that they're wounded. And yes, that person may do things that are wrong, but they won't be able to say they're hurt, they're damaged, they're wounded. And we may claim perfection, flawless, we make no mistakes, and try and carry that, I'll call it a facade. Therefore, anyone that has flaws and imperfect don't meet the criteria. But what goes with that is hypocrisy and lies, because it's not true. We strive for perfection. We strive for excellence. We strive to be thorough. We strive to be conscientious. But none of us are flawless. I'm going to say that one again. All of us have flaws. None of us are flawless. It's just our flaws are different. And again, am I condoning anything? Am I saying go out and grow your flaws? That's not what I'm saying. There's areas that all of us can work on to be better at. And that's how we should view it. Let me be better today than I was yesterday. Let me be better tomorrow than I was today. Let me learn. Let me grow. Let my wisdom grow. Let my knowledge grow. I'm constantly looking for insight. And what I mean by insight is knowledge that I don't have. And I don't mean knowledge about people's lives. That's not what I mean. About truths that I'm not aware of yet. I'm constantly looking and researching. Back here are some of my books I've had for many, many years. And occasionally I'll pull one back out and reread something I may have read 10, 20 years ago. But so many times with this device, I'm able to do so quick of research. I can have a thought and then I could start looking it up and seeing, okay, what does this say? What does this mean? How do you interpret this? And start looking at different things. And I love this because I can go directly to the Hebrew and the Greek, and look at the direct word and what is that word? What does it mean? Of course, I can go into the concordance and go through it very quickly now. Something that I would have had to carve out time and I'd have 5 books in front of me going over some, and now I can look it up there and grow my knowledge. Grow my knowledge. And sometimes somebody might say something and I may not exactly know, is that true or not? And I'm not talking like again theology. I just mean something. And then I'll look it up. And I'll look at, yes, there's Wikipedia, I'll throw that out, but Wikipedia is not always correct. So you have to look at different things to counter, to make sure what you're hearing is correct. I call it hold water, see if it holds water. But I'm constantly looking at things and hearing things. And I know that some people will call it Dr. Phil or psychobabble and all that. But a truth is a truth no matter who says it if it's true. And what I mean by that, gravity is gravity to everybody. 2 + 2 is 4 to everybody. The math works the same. Math works the same for everybody. Some people shy away from math. And I always say math is an exact science. It's exact. So when you look at something like math that is exact, it doesn't matter who speaks it. Somebody can say 2 + 2 is 5. That's not correct. Even if they have great titles and they are well honored, but they say 2 + 2 is 5. It's not true. And I'm one of those that'll be, nope, missing the mark. 2 + 2 is 4. Well, that's what atheists say. Well, the atheists got it right on that one. 2 + 2 is 4. So some big name preacher says it's 5, and so people say, okay, it's 5. I'm not one of those that just because somebody's name is behind it, and it's not the name of the Lord, I'm not buying it. I'm not buying what they're selling. Because the math has to come, and the answer has to work, and it works backwards too. You remove one of the numbers, you should be able to figure out the missing number, whichever one is. The X, the Y, the Z. You remove one, and that's the equation, and the answer comes together. And when I hear people that go through some math things, I always say, look at it as free questions. In other words, they're exact. You just got to go through your steps. A truth is a truth. And that's why I'm always looking and researching, because I want my knowledge to grow. And I want my wisdom to grow. And I want to share knowledge and wisdom like this. Full of mercy, without partiality, without hypocrisy, full of good fruits, without favoritism. Some people want favoritism. They want partiality. They won't understand. It's actually the ones with the smallest circle that we should look out for more than the ones with the biggest circle. So many times it's the people with the biggest circle that people look out for because they have a big circle, instead of that person that has no circle. It's like, do they even have any family? Is there anybody that they can lean on? It's like, find out. Be a friend. Be an ear to hear them. Have a heart for the, going back to the way I do when joy comes in the morning. Going back to the person in the cafeteria eating lunch by themselves. That person. Do you have someone to eat lunch with? I'm using that as an illustration of, you see somebody that we may not get it, we may not understand them, but maybe we just need to have an ear to give them support, instead of the one with all the influence as they say today, the influencers. People always look for the influencers. This past week, Floyd Mayweather, the boxer, was in town here in Phoenix for the game for the Suns, and we were celebrating my wife's birthday, and I got a phone call, and it's like, what are you doing? I'm celebrating my wife's birthday. So Floyd Mayweather's here. Can you come down? And I'm like, no, I can't. You sure? And I'm like, no, it's my wife's birthday. She said, if you want, you go down there. And I said, no. Now I know he doesn't have the best reputation, and maybe he can use my something I may offer him. But I chose to spend that day with my family. My grandsons got to be with us. We spent the day together. We spent the evening together. Celebrated her birthday. And I'm saying that because he's got big influence, big circle. I don't know if he's a billionaire, but I know one fight he made $400 million just in one fight, which is almost $500 million. But I passed. Now, maybe something comes up, someone without a name, somebody that doesn't have a big circle and influence, and I might need to put my hand on their shoulder and say a prayer for them. Because it's not about the big names. The big names, big eyes, little U's. Is that how it works? What they call the pecking order? What's the pecking order with the Lord? All I know is I know he loves me. And I know he loves you. And that's a great pecking order. And being a servant of his, great privilege. Thank you for joining us on this Sunday morning. We encourage you to like us on Facebook. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, New Creation AZ. You should be able to find us. We have a new YouTube channel that some of you, if you don't mind subscribing to. It's called Joy Comes in the Morning. We just started that. We can use, if you could subscribe to both, we would appreciate it. For those of you that have been giving to the ministry, thank you. God bless you. If you would like to give, text 77977. 7977. New Creation AZ. One straight word. Text it and you'll get a link back that'll give you the steps to be able to give. Thank you for joining us and have a blessed and beautiful Sunday.